And I made a video and I said, hey guys, when a girl says, let's reschedule, I said, you need to punish her for that bad behavior. And when you meet her on the date, she needs to pay for the first drink. The feminists went crazy because I said punish and bad behavior. And I said, you can't reinforce good behavior with good treatment if she flakes. And they're like, oh my God, you're treating her like a dog. And it's like, what it's really come down to is this. Women don't want to be held accountable for flaking on men, for quite frankly, conducting.
Be held accountable for anything, bro.
Yeah, dude. But the thing is that
what works for a couple works for a couple. I can't.
Shut the fuck up, Lonnie Love. I and men like myself absolutely don't care what your swole up ass has to say about anything.
That whole husband's gotta cook thing was weird. Okay.
You think so? You don't ever see the satisfaction on your girl's face when you make her that good like Alfredo pasta?
I don't cook for women ever. That's not how the world works.
It'd be kind of sexy.
No, it's
it's a tip.
That's not how the world works. I believe in gender roles, and I believe in like men and women were very different, and the woman has to be submissive and cook and clean and do all that other stuff.
That's why you're not my husband.
Ew. Chat, what do you guys think?
We let y'all decide.
Yeah, we'll let the chat decide on this 100K celebration. What do you guys think? Yeah. All right, ladies, get the fuck out. You guys have been wild and disrespectful, so just get out. People don't want you here no more. Yo, did you seriously just spill fucking... Oh, shit.
It's no lie that this generation has a very toxic view on dating. We support and highlight a lot of toxic behavior, and we think it's cute, we think it's funny, we think it's what love is. And so the whole perspective on dating right now is super messy and allows for a lot of people to get into really toxic and abusive relationships and think that it's okay. So for the past few months, I've been seeing a lot of podcasts about dating, particularly run by men, showing up on my feed. I watched one video by The Roommates, which was a podcast they did with one of my favorite YouTubers. Her name is Tati Coakley. And ever since, I've just been getting so much content on my feed from them and from Fresh and Fit, from Kevin Samuels, from Steph is Cold, and I've come to a point where there's so much that I've absorbed in the past few months, and I have a lot of thoughts about what these gurus have to say about dating today, particularly these men, what they have to say about how men should date today and how women should act today. So in this video, I'm particularly talking about these male gurus giving advice on dating to men and also to women. I do think that both men and women on the internet are giving very black and white perspectives on dating that doesn't value the nuances and the complexities of human beings and of relationships. I'll talk about the perspective of dating from a lot of these female gurus that I'm seeing on the internet in another video. Today, I want to solely focus on some of these male dating gurus and the advice that they have been preaching to men and women in terms of how to date today, how to act as a man, how to act as a woman in a relationship. What I've been noticing in a lot of these podcasts is that what these men are really preaching is that men should be high earning, high value, and should be able to stand their own ground, be alpha males, provide for themselves, and make more than a potential female partner. And a woman should be super submissive and cater to her man despite her own needs and maybe her own desires and her own goals in life. And in each of these podcasts, I've been hearing a lot of similar points that I think are super scary because they do encourage patriarchy and misogyny. I do want to give a disclaimer. I don't think the word misogyny should be thrown around lightly. So I'm not trying to say that these men are misogynistic, but a lot of their rhetoric and their advice definitely is very, very much misogynistic and needs to be looked at from a critical point of view. I also want to give a disclaimer and say that I am not bashing any of these men who run these podcasts. Lord knows I do not want to argue with no man about what they're putting out on the internet, especially men who are way older than me and have a way bigger platform than I do. I'm not trying to say that these men hate women or that's what they're encouraging, but again, I want to look at the things that they've been saying from a more critical perspective. The first thing that I've been hearing in a lot of these podcasts is the look that every woman should have. A feminine look, a woman who is very, very much in her femininity. The ideal woman should be very classy. She has to be thick. She has to be pretty. No tattoos, no weird piercings, no odd style. She just has to look like your traditional trophy wife, and just overall a very feminine, a very girly woman. And the reason why I hate that so much is because we have come to a point in society where we have become more open to allowing people to express themselves in different ways. Fashion, style, and the way that you present yourself says a lot about your own creativity and how you choose to present yourself. But the way that someone physically looks does not equate to how they act on the inside. And there's a lot of girls who are very pretty and very feminine, but when you talk to them, they have a very ugly attitude. And there's also a lot of girls who dress very tomboy or have a masculine side to their style, but they are very feminine inside, or they are very soft-spoken. There's just so much nuances to people and how they behave and how they choose to present themselves. And to suggest that the only women worth taking seriously are women who dress or look a very certain way takes away from the uniqueness to every individual. I feel like these men who are saying that are not even unique in their own sense. Like, they're not very unique in how they dress or how they carry themselves. They also are very cookie cutter men. And that's great. Like, I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with being a trophy wife or with being a very clean cut dude. What you want is what you want. So if you want a woman who dresses really, really professional or really classy and that's all that you like, that's completely fine. That's what you want. Like, go get what you want. You know what I mean? But my problem is that these men come onto their platforms and suggest to women that unless you dress like the trophy wife, unless you act like a very feminine woman, you're not worth taking seriously, that no high value man is gonna take you seriously. And I'm thinking to myself, like, if every woman dressed classy and feminine, we would all be clones. Like, what would separate us from one another if we all dressed the same, if we all looked the same, if we all acted the same? It just erases, again, the complexities of an individual and the uniqueness to every individual. I'll talk about this in a different video because I think it's a whole separate topic that needs to be discussed. But the push of being a feminine woman is also deeply rooted in patriarchy and misogyny, because again, women should be able to be more than just a feminine woman. They should be able to express themselves however they like to and however that might work for them. I can't imagine sitting down Rihanna and telling her that she has to be a feminine woman, period, or else men won't want her. That's just not true. It's literally not true. And I think a lot of men do love uniqueness to a shorty. Like, they don't just want a shorty who acts like every other shorty. They want a girl who is good standing on her ones and has a sense of style, has a thought process that is very much her own. Correct me if I'm wrong. The next thing I want to talk about is this whole idea of a high value man. And what all of these gurus are saying on the internet is that every woman wants a high value man. And if you want a high value man, you have to be the kind of girl that a high value man wants. What even is a high value man? That's what's confusing me. Is a high value man or woman just somebody who makes a lot of money? Because if that's all the high value is, that's not the only thing people chase. Obviously, there are a lot of women out there who want a man who can provide, who can take care, and who's making a good amount of money. Some women want a man who is very much wealthy, not just someone who makes good money, but who is literally rich, period. Again, those women should definitely chase those men, but these gurus keep suggesting that every woman wants a high value man, and a high value man wants a particular woman that I just described, a very feminine woman. And if you don't act like a feminine woman, you don't deserve a high value man. But the thing is, a high value man to me is not just a man who makes a lot of money. A high value man is a man with a good character, a man with morals, a man with hella personality, who has a good heart, and who knows that his worth is more than just money, and that people's worth is more than just how much they make. If we're solely basing how much someone is worth talking to based off of how much they make, I mean, people are gonna live such bland lives. And I say this to women too, like, if the only thing you chase in a man is his bag, your life is gonna be so boring, because a man should be able to bring more to the table than just money. And obviously women should be able to bring more to the table than just like their looks or their body. And once you find someone who you connect to on an emotional, spiritual level, the time you spent with this person is magical. It's like being in paradise. I've been there, I've been in love, and I know for a fact that the person that I was with, I admired them for who they were as a person. It was more than just the way they looked, and it was more than just how much money they made. And this person did treat me like they definitely paid for a lot of shit. But when I look back and think about this person, I don't appreciate the money that he brought to the table. I appreciate the person that he was and the kind of dude that he is. So no, the only thing a woman wants is not just a man who makes a lot of money. And also, a man who makes a lot of money might be high value in terms of his net worth, but that's not the only thing that makes him a man worth being with, if we're gonna be completely honest. One thing that these dating gurus have been saying on their podcasts is that makes me really sick is that men don't need women. Society doesn't need women. We don't bring anything to the table that a man can't do. That men created this society, and without women, men would be completely fine. First of all, child, you would not even be alive without a woman in the picture. Like, literally, you came out of a vagina, in case you forgot. Like, you literally came out of a coochie, not a dick. So you most definitely need women. And it might be true that yes, men built this world, but that was because women didn't have the same opportunities that they have now way back in the day. Maybe if they did, they would have been able to contribute a lot more to society, but we just didn't have those opportunities. And even if we could bring something to the table, men didn't take us seriously, and yeah, men ran everything. So if the men don't let us contribute, how the hell are we supposed to contribute? These gurus, when they're talking to women about what men want or what a high value man wants, say that men don't care about how much you make or your accomplishments or the things that you have done in your life. They don't care about your portfolio. They don't care about the work that you do, because it doesn't matter to them, because they're all set and good on their own anyways. But is that really true? Like, is it really? Because I've always found the most interesting men want an interesting woman. Like, they don't want a bland, boring woman. They want to be impressed by the woman that they're with, and they want to be inspired by the woman that they're with. So yeah, if you are a business owner and you have a successful business, or you've done a couple of things and you've won certain awards and stuff, a man would probably be very much impressed by that, just the same as anybody else would be. Because, I mean, why not celebrate somebody's accomplishments? If I met a dude and I tell him, like, you know, I won an award for, like, best short story at my university, if he was just like, okay, cool, that's great, I'd be like, oh, okay, bye, because it just shows that he has no interest in me as an individual and doesn't want to actually get to know me. Whereas if he was like, oh, that's dope, like, that's hella cool, what was your story about, like, let me read it, like, let me look into this, I want to know more about you, it would definitely turn me on, and it would make me want to talk to him, because I'm like, well, he's interested in me as a person. He wants more than just my looks or my body. He wants an actual connection, an actual relation with me. This whole idea that the man is the prize, period, and that a woman is just a baby maker and the cook and the cleaner in the house is just so sad to me, because we bring so much more to the table, and a woman can really bring so much light and happiness into a man's life as long as you find the right women. And there's nothing wrong with a woman who chooses to be a housewife. There's nothing wrong with a woman who doesn't really want a career or doesn't want to work, would rather be at home and take care of her kids and her man and cook and clean. There's nothing wrong with that. That's completely fine. And again, there are men who do like that, but not every man wants that kind of woman, and not every woman wants to be that kind of woman. Not every woman wants to be a stay-at-home wife. Women should be allowed to choose between whether or not they want to be a stay-at-home wife, or whether or not they want to achieve goals in their own lives and go far in terms of their career choice. I think a healthy, ideal relationship is a man and a woman who encourage and uplift one another and allow for one another to still be individuals and grow as individuals, but come together and share their lives together. These gurus are really big on taking things all the way back to the old traditional way, and they're very, very blatant about that. They're very clear that the way it should be, that the woman should be at home and cook and clean and be submissive to her man, and the man should go out there and work and bring home food to the table and have a wife to take care of him, but also he can do whatever he wants because he's a man, and men can do that, but a woman can't, because women should be at home and should be very traditional. And it's like, we have come too far, way too far in society, like way too far in society to go back to those old days where we were just stay-at-home wives. And finally, the number one thing about these podcasts is that really does bug me and has made me just click not interested a bunch of times on my feed, and I hope to God YouTube does not recommend their shit to me again, is how much they embarrass women. Not all of these podcasts, not all of them. I do love The Roommates. I think The Roommates is a great podcast for both men and for women. But a lot of these other podcasts bring women onto their show and just embarrass them, make them feel dumb, make them feel worthless, and have a bunch of men watching who are sending in comments also degrading and bashing these women. Like, what is the value to that? These men claim that the purpose of bringing these women onto their platform is to enlighten them, educate them, and hopefully teach them something so that they can go off and be better women and attract a potential partner long term. But they don't do that from a place of care and from a place of love. Like, if you really do want to make somebody better, you speak to them in a way that is encouraging and uplifting and kind, so that they actually take your words seriously and see that you want what's better for them. Instead, again, these men embarrass these women. They speak to them like they literally ain't shit, make them feel like they ain't shit, enabling a bunch of men on the internet to blatantly tell these women through comments that they ain't shit and call that bettering women. They also use a lot of these women and their behavior to prove to men that women today are not wifeable, not worth the time of day, and that men today should just forget about taking women seriously and instead focus on themselves, make money themselves, and not seek a partner so much because women these days are just not dateable, and that if they want a woman, it should be solely so that she can play the housewife role and carry your children. Kevin Samuels is a great example of someone who has a lot to say to women about how bad we are as people and embarrass us on the internet and allow men to feel validated about their own misogyny, about their own patriarchy by showing off certain women who act up on the internet, or just by embarrassing a woman on the internet, period. And also, a lot of what these men say women do, like a female trait, such as being jealous, such as causing fights and causing problems, they do themselves. Like, you see it in these podcasts, these men do get emotional, they do get upset, they do kick people off of their shows for just disagreeing with them. A lot of these men have been heavily hurt by a woman in their past, and that's why they are the way they are now. Like, you are a very emotional dude, sir, and that's why you are here talking about women so foully. It's hypocritical to point out all the flaws in a woman, then exhibit those flaws yourself. These men literally pick and choose the woman that they want to talk about and then dub all women as the same. You have to understand that people act based off of their environment, and these men have women from like Miami or LA who are social media influencers or just, you know, club promoters and whatever, and no disrespect to those women, but they pick a very specific group of women and talk to those same types of women all the time, or talk about them on their channel all the time, and dub all women as such. Like, the way women act in Miami might not be exactly how women act in a place like Calgary or something. Like, a big city with a very big nightlife and a lot of stuff to do is definitely going to have a lot of young women and men who want to party and who want to have fun and who aren't really about getting into a serious relationship, or who aren't really doing the work to be a good partner because they're not really focused on that. But maybe if you go to like a smaller town where that's not really the case, you're gonna find men and women who do look for a traditional lifestyle where they do want to get married and they do care to have children and have a very nuclear family lifestyle. It definitely depends on where you are and who you're talking to. I'm not saying that everybody in a certain city acts the same, but a lot of us do, just because our environment is what influences the way that we act. If you're gonna talk about women, you've got to get women from different parts of the world or different parts of America, since these dating gurus are American, and talk to different groups of women, different races of women from different parts of America. You literally cannot just take one woman or one man and dub all women or all men to be the same. YouTube is great because you don't have to have an education, you don't have to have any qualifications to come on the internet and say what you have to say. It's great because you can be anybody and create a video and put it out there for the world. But not everybody on the internet, even people with really big followings, are saying things that are correct or true. If these men knew anything about psychology or about the way women and men act, they would know that to understand human behavior or to study human behavior, you have to do a study on various people. Like, you cannot just talk to women from a certain part of the country and dub all women in the country to be the same. Like, you literally need women from all parts of the country to have a more accurate conclusion on how women act or what women value or whatever the hell your hypothesis is. And also, studies show that there are multiple factors and reasons why men and women choose the partners that they choose, and it's not all just high value men is what a woman wants and a submissive housewife is what men wants. I've taken a psychology course and I've done a whole lecture on how men and women choose partners to marry, and it has a lot to do with your environment, coming from similar backgrounds, having similar cultures or traditions, having the same careers or similar careers, living within the same vicinity. Like, people choose their partners for a lot more reasons than just because a woman wants to be taken care of by a rich dude, or because a man wants a wife at home who can cook and clean and take care of his kids. This video is all over the place. I tried to structure it the best that I could, but I tend to ramble and lose track of thought. The reason why I thought this topic was something that I wanted to talk about is because people on the internet were very impressionable. There's a lot of naive people on the internet who believe whatever it is that they hear or see. A psychology fact is that as soon as someone says one thing that you relate to, you believe everything that they say. And a lot of these gurus that I'm talking about, it's not that they're always wrong. They do have some really good advice sometimes. They really do have some good advice for both men and for women. But again, as soon as you hear one thing that someone says that you like or that you relate to, everything they say becomes believable. I'm a smart person. Like, I can think really critically, but I also can be very naive. And so for a little bit, I was brainwashed by their content. I did believe that like a woman's value does not equate to the same as a man's. Like, I was definitely under a trance by their content for a little bit, but then I broke out of that and I was like, whoa, let's think critically here. So to end this video, I just want to encourage everybody to find what works for you, to discover what it is that you desire in a partner, what it is that makes you happy, what it is that you need, so that you can filter out people and find a man or a woman that is suitable for you. There's nothing wrong with having standards as both women and as men, so establish those standards. Don't be shallow about your standards, but definitely like understand what it is that you need or you desire. And again, if you take advice from people on the internet or even from your own friends, like, make sure to have on a critical thinking hat on, because there are some stuff on the internet that's helpful, but there's also a lot on the internet that's just absolutely toxic and incorrect. But I encourage everybody who is single to just work on yourself and work on being a better person to yourself, a better version of yourself, and also a better person to the people around you. Work on being a better friend, work on being a better daughter or son, work on being a better sibling. Or if you are in a relationship right now, do talk to your partner and understand how you could be a better partner to them and how they could be a better partner to you. Anyways, this was a very lengthy video that I'm going to have a wonderful time editing. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. Let's have a discussion about it. Let's talk about it. And if you have not subscribed already, what is you doing, bro? Like, let's get to it. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.